are once again. I'm Chef Shalhoub and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to make cheese herb biscuits with jalapenos and onions and garlic. Ooh, yum! So these are like scones, but instead of sweet scones, we're making them savory. Savory means something with cheese in it. If you don't want the cheese, you can put bacon or ham or whatever. So anyway, let's get started. So I'm going to measure in 1 and then 2 cups of flour. So I'm making this a big recipe. This would be like family style recipe. So I just want to make sure that I don't overdo the flour, so I want to measure it out nicely. Okay, and remember, we're going to measure our dry ingredients first. Then I want a tablespoon of baking powder, and I want to level that one off too, but you have to sift it because baking powder tends to clump, and if you just dump it in, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to push it through the sifter right there like that. And I want about 1½ teaspoons of sugar, because even though these are savory scones, you still want a little sugar because it helps bring out the flavor. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. Sprinkle that all in, and then you mix. You want to mix as you go along so you don't forget. Mix it really well, get everything all blended. Now the next ingredient is our butter. Now some old recipes call for margarine. I like butter. It's natural, in some ways healthier. And I froze my butter because it's so much easier. I'm going to show you a really nifty little trick. You just take your box grater and your frozen butter, and you're just going to shred it into your flour mix here. This makes it so much easier to cut in your butter. A lot easier. Just keep going and going. When it gets down to the bottom, be careful, you don't want to shred your fingers. Okay. And make sure you get that butter that's stuck on the inside. See how it's stuck on the inside? And just mix that all around. All right, there we go. We have the butter in, and so you can just go ahead and put in your Parmesan cheese and cheddar cheese. And if you like it extra spicy, you can use pepper jack cheese. That's really good too. And just mix that in. It's so much easier to mix this in before you put the liquid. So don't do the liquid until the very, very last minute. Mix it up really, really good. Get it all blended well. Okay, so now this isn't the end of it because we want to put our herbs and our spices in there. Just get this out of the way. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is put in a couple of onions. When I cut onions, I only get rid of the root part. I don't get rid of the white. I cut it in half and I just chop away. Some cilantro. And for real good spicy goodness, some jalapeno. You can cut off the tip, and if you don't want the seeds, then just cut around the seeds. Makes it really easy. So now, this is the really hot part. We're just getting rid of it. Too bad. Bye, sayonara. Just line this up and chop away, because nobody wants to bite into a big old hunk of jalapeno, so keep them small. now for the garlic, last but not least. I'm going to put in 2 because they're kind of on the small side, and you want to whack them a little bit. Makes it easier to mince them. Is that loud enough for you? Sorry. Anyway, just mince it up. That looks like about it. I have everything in there that I want to put. Now, if you want to, you can use rosemary or oregano. Those are also 2 very good herbs that go very nicely with this particular biscuit. Now, the very last ingredient is our milk. Just make a hole in the middle. We call it a well. And I'm going to measure out 1 cup of milk. And I am using 2% today. You can use 1%, or you could use non-fat, or you could use whole milk. Pour the milk in all at one time. And you want to stir just enough to get most of the ingredients wet. You want to see some of the flour still. That means you haven't overmixed. Definitely do not overmix. You want your biscuits light and fluffy. In the meantime, you make sure that your oven has been turned on to 450 degrees. So we want a screaming hot oven. Just try to get it all in, and this should not take more than 1 minute. If you're stirring for more than a minute, you're overdoing it. Okay, so you see how it looks? It's still kind of raggedy looking, and there's still some flour showing in there. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now we're ready to put it in the pan. I have my baking pan here, and I have it lined with parchment paper. Just makes life so much easier. Don't have to wash so hard. And I'm using a number 30 scoop. You don't have to, you can just put it in with a spoon. But I like using a scoop because in that way, when you have a big family, you don't have anybody complaining that so-and-so got a bigger scone or a bigger biscuit. Everybody gets the same size. Okay, now we're ready to put it in a screaming hot oven. I think I already said that. Anyway, it's screaming. Put me in. And after 25 minutes, you have to have little brown peaks on your biscuits or the scones, whatever you want to call them. If they don't have little brown peaks, then you need to leave them in just a little bit longer. Okay, so we're going to wait. Okay, by my watch, it's been 25 minutes, and these biscuits are screaming to come out of the oven. So let's take them out and see what they look like. Wow, if this isn't perfect, my name's not Chef Shalhoub. So shall I bite into one? It's hot, but anyway, this is exactly what you want to see, brownish, so to speak. And I'm just going to risk, oh, it's really hot. I shouldn't do this. I'm so hungry. Let me just bite it. Oh, it's good. It's really good. Gotta try it. You'll like it. Remember, cheese herb biscuits, jalapeno, onions, and garlic. We're all for garlic breath. Bye. Wow. Oh well.